his story, and I think about the year, I mean, it's nowhere in comparison, but the years that I was single, and wondering, like, the same thing. Okay, maybe I'm just going to be single and with God the rest of my life. Am I satisfied with that? Is that going to be good enough? And wrestling with that, and I feel like the invitation that Darren, I think that we need to give Darren or people that are in the same position is to say, well, we're going to walk alongside you as your community. I mean, regardless of our sexual orientation or whether we're single or married or divorced or anything, God wants us to be in community with one another. That's another gift that he's given us. And so those who have chosen to stay single, I know the years that I was single, it was really hard to be in Christian community without people expecting, oh, when are you going to get married? When are you going to be in a relationship? Because you're not really complete until you have that. And feeling like, am I less of a person? And I think, I don't know if you resonate with that, but like it just feels like we're a culture so enamored with relationship status that it can be hard to say, I'm going to make a commitment to singleness. And so I think for us as a community to be like, hey, we're gonna journey with you in that. We're gonna be family to you. We're gonna be your community that steps alongside of you in this journey together. You're not alone. You have God, of course, but we also need each other. And to have honest conversations with people about their sexuality and their singleness, and to allow them to embrace wherever they're at, and to be friends with them and walk with them in that, I think is the invitation for all of us. So that's all I have to add.
Thank you so much for sharing. I just think Darren's so brave, and you know, the thing that we love, I make jokes about Darren before he's coming. I'm like, regardless of how I feel, Darren could probably like paint a picture or some like word story or some crazy like analogy. Look at that. I mean, he's just, yeah, God has blessed you. You're so creative. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Is masturbation wrong, and why? Oh, I'm answering that one. So, let me get my notes out. Okay, what am I going to say? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to actually just say this briefly because our next question is going to be about a little bit about pornography. But basically, masturbation is, and this is kind of a theme that we've talked about, like this deeper desire and longing that God created us with for intimacy. When you actually look up the word intimacy, like you type in your Mac and it's like intimacy, it will say like physical act of intimacy. You're like, wait, so what actually is intimacy? But it's closeness. It's that oneness that you keep hearing people share about, that God created us with this desire, this deep longing to be one with him, first and foremost. And I just love how Darren was saying, like, this whole community is gravitating towards this symbol that's really showing us this covenant. If you know about any old Bible stories, or maybe if you don't, but you heard about like Noah's Ark and the rainbow being this promise to God's people. I just love that image because really it's this desire that so many of us have. We're all created with it. Whether or not we know it or we acknowledge it, our lives, we're reaching out for other things to fill those different desires. So masturbation is actually one of those things. It's really this desire for intimacy. And I know the things like, no, but some people just have this really high sex drive, or no, but it's different for guys and it's different for girls, and physiologically this, and this. Well, okay, I think that God also created all those things. I think that he created our sex drive. If it's more than one person or less than another person, I think God created those things. And so I don't think it's a matter of, well, I have to do these things to be able to survive. Like, you're not going to die if you don't. But physiologically, actually, it removes us. Masturbation removes us. It's like solo sex. So that's what sometimes it's called. So sex was created for intimacy, closeness between two people. We were created with this longing, this desire to be one with God. So God gives us sex in the context of relationship, in marriage, in this covenant, and it's supposed to bring us close to another. That intimacy is about becoming one with another person. Well, masturbation totally severs the whole meaning and purpose for sex, and it no longer becomes about this intimacy and fulfilling. It becomes this selfish act of one person trying to fulfill their physical needs. And that was exactly what we were defining sex as in the beginning, that our culture defines sex as itching the scratch, right? Well, masturbation is something that it's just the physical act. So it's taking those deeper longings and desires and actually passing on God's plan, which is act can fulfill all those desires that people have that when they're going to masturbation for, that don't get fulfilled. I can't tell you how many times people have called me. Honestly, college students have called me after that they had done that and said, man, I thought that I just needed this release, but actually I feel so much more lonely. Actually, I feel so much more shameful. Actually, I don't even understand, Casey, because I don't believe in God, but I feel so empty. This doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense when we look at it from the reality, from the viewpoint that masturbation grows out of this good and God-given longing for love and intimacy, but it's a poor substitute for God's original design for sex. So let's go into the next question. Unless anyone has, well, we're going to go to the next one, actually. We all probably have lots of thoughts about that. So let's go to what's so bad about pornography. And why don't you start, Marcos?